Welcome back. In previous video, I demonstrated how to create a Cloud-init image template and then set up Ubuntu VM and finally configure Docker init with containerized application for Homelab testing as well as for media management, homeness, typically used by home users. Today we'll cover that missing piece and install Proxmox and change Proxmox configuration using only command line to maintain consistency in our configuration and steps, as well as it makes easy for you to follow the steps. Now for this exercise, I'll be using a $300 fanless mini PC, which will be running 24/7 with a mere 13 watt of idle power consumption. This will be running Proxmox, TrueNAS, Docker containers to begin with, and all that with just 13 watt idle power consumption. I reviewed this mini PC on my Smart Home Tech channel. You can find the link in the description and also on the top corner of the screen. This PC is 2023 model, just released in the month of February. It has the Alder Lake Celeron processor, which was released a couple of years back, but available only last year. And now it comes with the USB-C port, so which helps us expand some of the functionality in the future. It comes with all the necessary hardware to run the latest release of Proxmox or VMware without any additional driver configuration. Before we start, let's reset the BIOS to default setting, as these settings are good for Proxmox and VMware. Then download the Proxmox VE ISO image from Proxmox website. Then use the Rufus to create a bootable USB drive with the ISO image. Now insert the bootable USB drive into the mini PC and boot the server from the USB drive. Select the bootable USB to initiate the boot process. For this installation, I'll be using a 512 GB NVMe SSD for Proxmox installation. Accept the user license agreement. Select the drive for installation. Choose your country, time zone, and keyboard language and proceed. Enter your root password and confirm it. Provide an email address and proceed. Now, Proxmox should detect the network and populate the IP address automatically. It should match your LAN subnet. If not, NIC is not detected properly. Provide a good host name and update the IP if necessary. In my case, I'll change it to 110. Review the summary details and click install. Once the installation is completed, the system will reboot and Proxmox IP address will be visible. Now open your browser, enter the IP address followed by the port 8006. Log in as root with the provided password to successfully connect to Proxmox. From here on, we'll be performing remaining steps using the command line. This will ensure we have a consistent configuration. The first step is to set the configuration file to the Proxmox IP address in VS Code. Update config file in VS Code to map Proxmox IP to 110 IP address. ON code with all the steps are available on my GitHub page. Link is there in the description. Also, all product links are there in the description and none of them are affiliate links. So if you like this type of content, please subscribe and help me reach 1K subscribers so I can monetize my channel. Now let's SSH into Proxmox for the first time. Type yes to confirm and now enter the password. Congratulations, you are now remotely connected to Proxmox in VS Code. This is the best way to implement a change or connect and do the development. Use the VS Code, connect using SSH. There is another option that you can connect using remote SSH method, but I found this method is much more productive and much more quicker to manage. Next, let's copy the public SSH key as an authorized key into Proxmox server to avoid entering the password in the future. Now log out and log back in to confirm. No password is required. Exit from the Proxmox and now copy the public and private certificate to the Proxmox server for the simplicity in this Homelab and testing. Update the test repositories and enable the no subscription repository. The next step is to disable the security NAC prompt since we are using the free version of Proxmox. Update the repository and the underlying OS and Proxmox packages to the latest versions. Disable IPv6 at this is Homelab as it is not necessary. Let's take a general look at the default storage and how Proxmox allocate the 512 GB disk for the different space requirements. Enabling IOMMU is the next step, which allows us to pass through direct resources to the virtual machine without involving the virtual layer. We'll check if system is using grub or systemd, as the steps differ for each. Since we have grub, let's take a backup of the file, search for the word quiet, add a new line with IOMMU equal to on, and confirm the change is in place. Now run the update grub command to enable the change. Next step to enable IOMMU is to add 4 lines in the module file, then run the update init ramfs command to allow the system to identify and load necessary drivers and modules for proper system initialization. After completing these commands, reboot the system. Once the system restarts, connect to the Proxmox server and validate if IOMMU is enabled or not. Here are the 3 commands to check specific messages that confirm if IOMMU is enabled correctly. Below 3 results confirm IOMMU is working fine. Now let's validate the VFIO module is working as expected. The module provides a framework for device drivers to support pass-through of devices to virtual machines, allowing direct access to the hardware devices and high-performance virtualization. Next, use the find command to check all visible IOMMU groups. I'm specifically interested in NIC pass-through, so I'm filtering the result for NIC device. The update PCIIDS command updates the database of PCI devices by fetching the latest version of the PCI ID repository from the internet. This provides basically user-friendly names for all the devices. You don't have to remember that 000 GUID numbers. Now let's check all the Ethernet devices. For more detailed output about a specific device, use this command. Let's also validate NVMe disk on the system. Both of them should be visible. Second one we'll use for trueness in a bit. In this case, partition formatting is not required for that drive because we will wipe the entire drive with this command. At this point, we have completed all the changes using the shell required on top of the default Proxmox configuration. Now let's connect to the browser and have a quick look at the GUI. The default view allows you to add several Proxmox servers and set up the cluster. Let's click on the Proxmox node and then summary view to see system usage and resource consumption. You can also perform updates using the GUI. It's not updating right now anything since we have already updated system using command line. The GUI also allows you to directly connect to the shell and run commands. You can see all the repository changes we made as well as the disks are visible. If desired, you can use Ceph storage for your Proxmox cluster as well as for the Docker or Kubernetes. That's it for this video. We have successfully installed and set up Proxmox using the command line interface and explored the GUI for an overview of system. Now you're ready to take advantage of the powerful features Proxmox offers for virtualization and containerization in your Homelab environment. If this content was useful to you, please like it. And if you like to see videos like these, please subscribe and share it with your friends. Really appreciate you watching.